I did everything by trial and error, mostly errors. When I finished my first semester of teaching, I actually told myself I'm never gonna do it again.
I received a funny proposition to teach again.
And guess what? I just did it. This semester, I'm actually finishing my PhD project, and I decided to work on my mistakes, to learn from them, and to do better. I only had one shot, and it worked out. So let me share with you all of the tips and tricks to make your teaching easier and more useful at the same time. Let's start. I previously talked a lot about teaching and tips on how to prepare your materials. For me, it was tricky because I was given a total carte blanche on what to do during my semester. I only gave talks before I knew how to prepare 1 hour talk by spending at least a couple of days working and reworking this information, rehearsing and preparing. You're not supposed to do the same thing while preparing teaching. You're supposed to do everything on the go. You just don't have time to rehearse. Do not do it. It is harder though to estimate time if you're just starting, so I would always have one or several activities to fill in the rest of the time if the flow of your lecture goes faster than you want it to. But in my case, it happened almost never. So when I taught for the first time, I actually took two groups, one by one, workshops of 3 hours each. I was tired by the end of the day, didn't even work after that. Technically, teaching is supposed to happen during your PhD working hours. In France, how it happens, your employer actually signs a form that's called like a cumul d'activité. So basically, that's the attestation that you can do two things at the same time, but I still felt so tired. It was just impossible to work right after those 6 hours of teaching. So this semester I just took one group and it worked out well because I already had some of the exercises prepared. I also took it a lot easier. Searching for the opportunity also happened very quickly, in a sense that I didn't search it all. Just my previous faculty recontacted me again 2 years after my first teaching session because they needed some doctoral students to teach the workshops.
I received a funny proposition to teach again. I submitted my CV to another school earlier this year, but then I kind of ghosted them. Not sure if that was a good idea, but I realized it's a bit too far away and I have to adjust to different people. I was not sure that I want to teach there. Now the previous institution contacted me for another round of teaching. Not sure whether I should agree or not because it's a chaos. I'm still not sure when I want to defend. I also think teaching might reinforce my portfolio, even though it is the same class, and either I have to frame it in a different way or I need to come up with some new ideas on how to argument that it's a different class, even though, well, it's essentially the same thing. So I think I either change the university or I change my strategy, and this has to be thought through. I also realized that a permanent job at the faculty requires some kind of a qualification, that you have enough experience in order to teach at the faculty. They need, first of all, you to have a degree, but then also to have some of the teaching experience, which is at least 90 hours. It depends on the section, it's not always fixed. I only have 72 and I'm thinking that I might need some more, and it's also an additional money, which is kind of ridiculous, but still, in terms of the workload, it looks okay because it doesn't add much of a preparation and it can help me to improve my speaking skills, and it's also gonna be partially in English and partially in French if I wanted to be. Still thinking.
The only thing is that it had to be related to reading scientific articles, and basically by the end of the class they were supposed to learn how to do it. So I turned this whole class this semester in the methodology of research, with an introduction to research for them to understand this whole frame and how they can use it in order to create experiments on whatever topic they want, and how to read and understand articles better, because if you know the methodology, you know where to search for the right information. My students were supposed to learn how to find a paper at the first place, then how to read it in an effective way, and then at the end I asked them this time to create a poster. I gave them an outline in Canva and they were supposed to fill it in with the paper of their choice, as if they were presenting this paper for a poster, and they actually also presented orally in front of the class. And it was kind of fun. Since it was a workshop, we were actually working on the poster during the classes, and every lesson added on something important. For example, we had a class on figures, then we integrated this theoretical knowledge about how to present the information onto their practical use case, a poster of the selected paper. I think, honestly, this is one of the biggest outcomes of the PhD, that you're learning by doing a lot more efficiently than just reading books. And honestly, you can also understand whether research is something that you would want to do as a career just by doing projects and testing those tiny experiments on yourself. From my case, fighting this imposter syndrome is a real thing, and especially when the class is full of students that are nearly the same age as you. But in this case, I would frame your teaching differently. Think of yourself as of a mentor. Do you remember yourself 1, 2, 5 years ago? What were you interested in? What did you need at this time? This change of the perspective is honestly your key to providing the most valuable information and also probably unique knowledge to our generation. Who else can get this knowledge to the students? The mentor, just someone like 3, 5 years further along the way. On this note, I already said, but I prefer doing workshops over lectures. So our idea would not be to give your students the fish. Our idea would be to teach them how to fish so that they can get as many fishes as they want. Let them search for the information themselves. Let them Google it. You can obviously show how to do it first or help them if they have problems, but do not do everything for them. And as a bonus, it also reduces the importance of being a guru. So a fun activity that I would like to share is a class on writing emails. If you think it's dumb, I'm not sure you ever received the unsolicited applications that usually come to our lab mail. In my case, I showed my students a portal on cognitive sciences in France. They were supposed to select an offer and adapt their own experience to this offer. For example, if it was an internship on developmental psychology and they did not have any lab experience at all because they were just at the bachelor's level, I asked them to think of babysitting or giving private classes or maybe even babysitting your siblings. So they were supposed to adapt their skills to the job offer and send this email to me as if I was the professor potentially hiring them. Of course, they were not asked to apply unless they wanted to, but then I tried also to give them a detailed feedback just because I think it's so important, and that's going to basically be a basis their further success in the lab. So I consider this to be a research related skill. Again, thanks to the faculty for giving me a carte blanche. So the reason I'm doing this video today is actually I was contacted by a person who writes articles on nature careers, and I'm going to be featured in one of them. So feel free to Google it. I think it's not out yet, but it might be soon. If you are planning to teach, feel free to watch my other video on more targeted tips on how to teach and be more efficient in your preparation.
My super system, I have the numbers here, and then I have the number corresponding to every copy in the class. So I'm already done with collecting all of the copies. I'm gonna just quickly check them. We're gonna be able to put it online, and I'm done with a whole semester of teaching. So happy, so excited to move on, even though it was a great opportunity overall. Tiny break and we continue checking.